What's up, gaming world? Welcome back to another edition of Short Pause Reacts. This time we're going over the Bethesda presser that just happened. I'm Ben Boyce, joined by my compatriots, my companions, my compadres, Brent Felsing, and Viper Strike himself, Frankie Ayler. Gentlemen, say hello this evening.
Hello.
What's happening?
Hello, gaming world.
That's my line, and I'll hold you to that.
Oh, good lord.
So we just saw Bethesda's conference. I think we can all agree it was a marked improvement from EA's venture earlier. So we saw the Bethesda conference. We're gonna go through it now, kind of react to it, let you know what we're feeling about everything. Saw a lot of cool stuff here. We saw some stuff we thought we were gonna see, and some stuff maybe we didn't think we were gonna see. So let's hop into it now and start talking about some of the stuff that we saw. The conference started with little preview of a game you may have heard of, Quake. It's coming back. It's coming back as Quake Champions. And we saw a little cinematic trailer, a group of armored heroes kind of battling out in this arena, kind of stuff Quake is known for. Didn't see any actual gameplay. We heard some stuff about the game running at 120 hertz, unlocked frame rates. Seems like it's probably a PC only title right now from what we can glean. There were no platforms announced, but when you start talking about 120 frames per second, that's something that current consoles are not capable of. So, Frankie, do you have any connection to this franchise? I mean, this is strictly a PC franchise. It's had very little. There were a few games on the Xbox 360, but Quake has been on the consoles very little. I mean, what are your thoughts on Quake Champions? Is this something that appeals to you at all?
Not really. I'm not a big arena multiplayer type of guy.
Yeah.
I'd still want to go back and play Quake 4 on 360 just because I think that was a Raven joint and they're pretty awesome. So I don't know when I'll ever do that. And I know it's not, your typical Quake. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Brent, is there any way that this comes over to console? I mean, Quake is all about speed and just kind of this really rapid, fast-paced experience. I mean, if they're targeting like 120 frames, like that's the type of experience they want. They want this esports experience for Quake.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that would find a home on consoles at all, or is it just not even worth it to try to bring it over?
Last gen maybe not, but I think this gen it's worth a try. I think it'd be worth a look to bring it to consoles. But because this has always been a PC focused game, it doesn't surprise me that they'll start with PC. Get it running on PC, cater to the PC esports crowd, see how it does there, and then eventually we'll probably see it on consoles. Now it makes me wonder. We hear about these beefy running at 120 frames, unlocked frame rates. Maybe they're waiting to do it on PC first, then maybe release it later on the Neo and the Scorpio when those release, the more powerful systems, and get it running up to code on that. So, no, it doesn't surprise me that this is PC only. I've always had a little bit of an interest in these types of games. I've played Unreal Tournament and some of these other arena shooters, and I think they're pretty fun. They're really appealing. They're high octane, fast, quick action, and I'm pretty interested in this one. But I mean, until it comes to consoles where I can play with my friends, I'll check it out on PC, but not likely. But just glad to see another Quake game coming.
Yeah, and with like the Scorpio and the Neo, that's something I was thinking about as well. But the thing with those systems, as far as what we've heard, obviously they're not official or anything, but these games have to be playable on the standard Xbox One and the standard PS4 as well.
True.
So they would have to make some type of a 60 frame experience for those systems, and then maybe bring the full like unlocked Quake Champions experience to the more powerful units. If and when that time comes. So we'll see what Quake Champions holds. So just not much we can glean from that. Like I said, just a cinematic trailer. So if you're a Quake fan, cool. If not, it's probably didn't do much for you. They were hyping up QuakeCon in August, where we'll see more information on the game and a few of the other games they showed. So be on the lookout for that this upcoming August. From Quake, we moved into the Elder Scrolls card game, Elder Scrolls Legends. Any guys Hearthstone players?
I downloaded Hearthstone, but I never played it.
I think Bender is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bender is into
a fan.
That. Yeah.
Bit of a fan of Hearthstone. Obviously, many people are addicted to that game. A lot of people love Hearthstone. This looks to be the Elder Scrolls take on that from all accounts. What I found interesting is that it appears this game has a full-on like Elder Scrolls narrative. They showed us a narrative story trailer for the game.
Yeah.
which is interesting in a collectible card game at the very least. It's confirmed for PC in addition to mobile platforms. So kind of cool that you'd be able to play that on there as well. Do you guys have any thoughts on this game? Is this something you might be interested in?
You know, I take it back. I did check out Hearthstone when it came to the iPhone. I checked it out a little bit there, played a couple of games, and it's an interesting concept. It's just something I can't invest a lot of time. I know to get the most out of those games, you have to play a lot. And there's just games that I haven't put a lot of time into. But I'm interested in this one. When it comes to iPhone, I'm sure I'll pick it up. If it has any kind of music that's similar to the music found in Skyrim, I might just listen to the music and get my butt kicked. Because, like I said, those games are very challenging. They're very strategic, and it requires a lot of time to play them. And as much as I would love to be able to play those games more and more, I just don't have the time for it. But I'm glad to see that it's coming to mobile to give it a try.
I tell you, man, they do some cool stuff with these card games. Frank, you were mentioning Gwent. We were doing the live blog, and a lot of people get into the Gwent, the card game in Witcher. I always think of a triple triad from Final Fantasy VIII, and it was like this little mini card game that was built into that game, and it was probably the best part of that game. It was an awesome card game. I've always wanted to have that as like a separate thing. So I don't know. Does Elder Scrolls Legend appeal to you at all with your newfound Gwent interest?
It looks interesting, actually. They were showing it a little bit before the conference too, and the animations and it look pretty cool. Which, if it's a card game, if you do just a little bit extra than just having some cards on a table, I'll at least be a little bit interested. Like you're trying to do something to pull my interest in. So it sounds cool. Like just listening to Adam and what's her name, Morgan.
Morgan.
Yeah,
Morgan
they were talking a little bit about it before the show, and it sounds interesting. So if it's coming to Android, I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, with that awesome phone you have.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe it'll be an iPhone.
So yeah, like I said, I've never jumped into one of these separate card games like hardcore, but I always hear that they're great fun. So I imagine that this one is probably going to follow a similar trait. The narrative story aspect of it is pretty interesting as well. Let's move on from there. After the Elder Scrolls, we got into Fallout, the Fallout section of the show. When Bethesda Game Studios hopped on stage, kind of like midway through the show, I felt like they probably weren't going to have any like huge announcements, but they had some cool stuff to show us. So we saw Todd Howard in a pre-recorded video, and he kind of outlined the next few months of Fallout DLC. We saw the Contraptions DLC, which allows you to set up some like Rube Goldberg machines in your settlements.
Yeah.
We saw the Vault Tech Workshop, which allows you to like experiment on your settlement dwellers. So there's some strange stuff there. And then we got a little preview of this Nuka World. This is apparently the next big DLC expansion due to hit in August for Fallout 4. Brent, you're our resident Fallout 4 guy. What'd you think about this DLC plan? I mean, we've got Contraptions and Workshop, I think, are both in July. And then Nuka-Cola sometime in August. What'd you think about what you saw from Fallout 4? Did this stuff interest you at all?
Yeah, I mean, anything Fallout 4 is interesting. I didn't get into the settlement stuff from the previous, set up DLC. I do like the idea of building your own vault and testing on your dwellers. I think that sounds pretty interesting. You could probably have a lot of fun with that one. But obviously, Nuka World, this looks to be like the big expansion out of the group. It looked pretty cool. It looked just like a rundown Disney World, but based obviously it's Nuka World, and I'll be curious to see what this all entails. Is this going to be on the same scale as Far Harbor, like another massive world, or is it going to be more confined to this theme park that we see on Nuka World? But this comes out in August, and I'm sure I'm hoping to have Fallout 4 beaten by then. So yeah, I'm making my way through it.
Cool. Frankie, is this it for the DLC? Like, does this wrap up what's included in the season pass?
It
Can we
should,
assume-
in
Assume
theory.
that much?
Yeah, in theory. Unless we get another season pass. Would you be
Could they-
surprised?
Could they? Would they? I don't know. I mean, Bethesda's always gone above and beyond with their DLC. I mean, Fallout 3 had what, 4 or 5 packs for that, Brent?
Fallout 3,
Like sizable packs.
yeah, there was quite a. God, I'm trying to remember all the names, but there was the Mothership, there was like
Yeah,
Steel World, or
the pit.
yeah,
one
the
in
pit.
Pittsburgh,
Yeah, they had. I think there was 4. I think there was 4 add-ons for Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Hold on here. We have Operation
Frankie,
Anchorage,
Oh, there it is.
Fact checking.
The Pit, Broken Steel, Point Lookout, and Mothership Zeta.
Wow,
5.
5.
5 and those were all like like they weren't like workshop stuff. Like,
No, these were
these were full
hmm
single player like missions, quests, campaigns, like the whole deal.
Yeah, there was a
And
narrative behind each and every one of them.
yeah, and we saw a similar tact with Skyrim. They had the one I forgot, like the middle one was a smaller one, but they had some gigantic expansions with Skyrim, and they've done that with Oblivion. So they've always made these huge DLC packs. So I don't know. So this could be the end, could be not, but I think for sure this is probably the end of the first season pass.
Mhm.
Once Nuka World's out, I think that's pretty much it. Nuka World's guaranteed to be in this season pass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
'Cause they said they had a couple different like story expansions they were planning to put in there.
Mhm.
Okay, so we saw the Fallout 4 DLC. Some of that stuff looks cool. We don't know much about what Nuka World's gonna entail.
Nope.
We don't know, we only saw a quick snippet of it. So
We should find out
that'll
pretty
be
soon because it's launching in August. So
yeah, I mean it's coming out in
and
two
I know
months.
you mentioned a couple. The next two come out in July. I think the next one comes out next week.
Yeah.
Oh, is it next week? Okay.
Contraptions is next week.
Yeah, that's
Contraptions is next week.
and then the following
Vault
one
Tech
is
in July.
Yep.
Cool. So they're gonna stick to this every month thing, and then I don't know. What do you think from there? Do they leave Fallout 4 and then go work on Elder Scrolls? Is that what they're working towards here?
I would think so because by then you'll have mods out on both, the PlayStation 4 and
Mhm.
Xbox One. Let those run their course, and then hopefully, like you said, get started on Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah. And then one of the other Fallout tidbit they threw in there, Fallout Shelter, coming to
Mhm.
PC in July. So the mobile hit, which quite a few people have played, will
I-
now be available on PC.
I tried that, man. It's so much micromanaging. It is a ton of micromanaging.
Yeah. The thing with it on phone though is you have to constantly do it, right? Even as
Yes.
you're just going about your day to day life. So
yeah,
as
you get
you get it on a-
notifications on your phone like, oh, hey, somebody just died. You're like, gosh, really? Right now?
yeah. So you're dealing with that, but on PC, I mean, unless it just ties into the app and still makes you,
Oh.
updated on it. But it just seems like on the PC it would be a more streamlined experience.
That's too much work for me, man.
Yeah, well, guess we'll see when it comes out. Like I said, that's due in July. And then Todd Howard, he had one more thing to share with
Yes,
us.
he did.
Something we've been anticipating after it's been leaked over the past week. But Skyrim, the special edition, I guess is what they're calling it.
Yeah, buddy.
This is basically Skyrim Remastered for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It's coming out October 28th in all of its glory, which I'm assuming it's going to have all of the DLC, and it's also going to support mods.
Yes.
So Bethesda going all in on mods on PC and console. Frankie, have you ever played Skyrim?
No.
No?
It's
Are you interested in playing Skyrim?
Yeah. I would love to
Whatsoever.
find the time to play any of those, like Fallout, Skyrim. Those games all look awesome, but between 3 jobs and Jen, it's hard to find time for something like that.
Right.
Sure, man. All you gotta do is stop playing Battleborn. You can go ahead and jump into Skyrim.
It's like telling me to stop playing Destiny. Oh yeah, I did.
Brent, Skyrim is a real thing. We talked about this when it was kind of leaked over this past week. You said if this was a reality, this would consume you once
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes out.
Yep.
It'll be out. It's coming out in a very precarious time. It's coming out
Yeah.
October 28th, around a plethora of very large titles. We discussed this on the EA show when we did the EA reactions. But Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, and Infinite Warfare are all going to be out within like a couple weeks of each other. And now Skyrim Remastered is right in the middle of that as well. I mean, you know as well as anyone the time sink that game requires.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of your faves.
Yep.
So I mean, are you willing to jump back in there and go through this whole game again in the remastered form?
Well, see, as I've already played through it, I
Mhm.
mean, obviously I want to fire it up for the visuals and see all that. But this is now at this point, this is a game where I can jump in and play a little bit here, a little bit there. I know what's going to happen, so I'm not gonna be like, oh, okay, one more mission. I gotta see what happens. I know what happens, so I can be able to jump into this, fire it up in the morning for a little bit, fire it up every other once in a while, and just enjoy the new remastered take. And I like the idea of mods, and maybe I still have to try them out to really appreciate them, but I just want to play these games as they were meant to be played. I appreciate the mods. And I'm glad it's there for people to create stuff and add stuff to a game to make it more fun or make it goofy or whatever. But, this would be a game I just want to jump into and enjoy it all over again with remastered looks and visuals and all that stuff. But I'll pick it up, but I'm not gonna want to. I'm not gonna want to just play like 7 hours a night like I did when it first came out.
Yeah. Well, you might get sucked in there, man. And you pick a different class, maybe go through it a different way than you did before.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah. So, yeah, but that's a tough release date for that, though. It just I don't know, to bring out a remastered title of this size, during like the heavy fall season. I can't help but wonder if this would have been better served as a maybe a spring release, or earlier in or like a late summer release, like
Mm-hmm.
before the fall. Coming out in the heart of the gaming season, I'm not sure is the best idea for this, simply because this game's been out for 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
The people have played it, they've gone through it. So how many people are going to want to invest in this game at this period of time when all of these other new games are hitting the scene? So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. Skyrim, obviously a beloved game. People still play it nonstop on the PC with the mods. So we'll see what becomes of it with the special edition, late October. From there, fellas, we moved into I don't know, this may or may not have been a surprise to us. We all anticipated Prey showing up in some capacity,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure we exactly expected this. It's not Prey 2. It's a reboot of Prey, I guess. I don't have any connection to the Prey franchise. Don't know anything about it. Never played the first Prey. I know it had its fans, and I know a lot of people were anticipating Prey 2. But Franklin, we saw this cinematic trailer. A very cool looking trailer. Starts out with this Groundhog Day esque situation, and then we find out there's some aliens running amok, and you're on a space station, and some very cool looking stuff going on there. Well, what are your thoughts, though, man, on what we've seen of this Prey? I guess we'll call it a reboot.
Yeah, this is looking a lot more like a reboot.
Yeah.
I'm kind of bummed we didn't get any actual gameplay.
Mhm.
So I'm still gonna be kind of curious to see what direction Arcane's taking it.
It still seems a ways off. I think we can probably assume that
Yeah,
this is probably
yeah,
a
I think,
late 2017
They mentioned
title.
I think it's a late 2017
it's-
title.
Yeah.
yeah. So, just first impressions though, it looks like it'll be interesting.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna be kind of curious to see what they do with it, because I think before this was a 2K property, and then somehow Bethesda obtained Human Head in that IP. So,
Mhm.
um, I'm not sure.
Prey was
but
a very early, like 360 title. It
yeah,
was like one of the
yeah,
first 360 games in
yeah.
its first year.
I think it was a 3D Realms joint too. So, but yeah, I'll be interested to see more of that one. I think they mentioned QuakeCon; they'll be showing something with it. So,
Yep.
Mhm.
hopefully, we get a gameplay reveal a little later on. I was just kind of bummed we didn't see gameplay, but at least some kind of prey is coming out, and it does. And they did mention something about being hunted and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's going to be some kind of cool narrative there around that. So
Yeah, and Brent, that's the part I'm interested in, the hunted aspect of it. Like, are you just going to be stalked throughout this game by these things? Like, are you going to be more on the offensive? Like what kind of game is this going to be? Have you played the original Prey at all? Do you know anything about this franchise?
I never played it. I was always interested in it. But
Mhm.
based on what we saw in this trailer, I mean, I like the psychological aspect to it. They
Yeah.
mentioned that the story will be psychological based.
Mhm.
Some of the not gameplay, but some of the action scenes that we saw kind of give you an idea of being stalked, being hunted down by these creatures. It kind of reminded me of Dead Space. Like a little bit of a Dead Space vibe, just from it's in space. You've got these strange creatures chasing you down. But it looked really cool. But the main thing that grabbed me, obviously, from this trailer is just the focus on the psychological side of things. The narrative sounds like it's going to be very strong, and that's what piqued my interest the most from what we saw.
Yeah, I mean the trailer was beautiful, in much the same way the Dishonored 2 trailer was incredibly beautiful. I mean, if the game looks anything like the trailer, then this thing's going to be a stunning looking experience. Like we said, this is a late 2017 title. But yeah, we don't know anything about Prey at this point, other than it's in development by Arcane Austin. Has Arcane Austin ever made a game before? Is this their first game?
the only other thing that I remember them having a hand in was BioShock 2. I think they were one of the supporting developers for that.
Oh,
Or
okay.
supporting a developer on that. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean they have a strong pedigree at Arcane with Dishonored and some of the BioShock stuff over there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, an incredibly interesting sounding game. So I'll be interested to see more of that. They say more at QuakeCon, so maybe that's where we'll get the gameplay reveal. All will be revealed then, I guess. From Prey, we moved into Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Doom obviously been a hit for Bethesda this year, at least critically. I'm not sure how it's selling. We haven't seen any numbers on that yet. But we saw some Snap Map stuff. Have any of you guys tried out Snap Map?
No, I
No,
haven't.
not something that's tickling your fancy.
Snap Map just sounds like a Little Big Planet, and I'm terrible at designing maps, so
Yeah.
I probably won't be in there.
It'll
mean,
be like
how-
an elevator, and everybody will just start out in the elevator, but you didn't do anything to make the elevator work.
Yeah, the elevator doesn't open. It's just like both teams are just crammed in this little 10x10 spot.
Dude, you could resurrect your classic Little Big Planet level with mountain and cactus.
A mountain and a cactus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
put a mountain and a cactus and have everybody duke it out.
It's just the king of the hill. Fight for the cactus at the top of the mountain. I like that.
Yeah. So how does Snap Map work? Do you just jump into the is there like a Snap Map menu? Snap Map menu. Boy, say that 5 times fast. There's Snap Map menu. Okay, I'm gonna stop saying that. Is there a menu that you go into and there's like everybody's Snap Map stuff? Is there? Or?
I like how he struggled to get to that question. All I can respond is, I don't know. I haven't looked at it.
I know nothing about Snap Map, so I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. But we got some new updates for Snap Map coming out. New items, new things you can do with that. We saw some new multiplayer modes coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the big Achilles heel of this game so far, is the multiplayer. A lot of people are wanting more from that.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully some of these new modes will maybe spruce things up for everybody. The cool thing about all that stuff, though, it's free.
Yes.
Free multiplayer modes, free Snap Map updates, all that stuff is free. And we saw our first taste of the first piece of premium DLC for Doom in the Unto the Evil DLC pack, which will include 3 new maps, a new playable demon, some new armor, and whatnot. No single player stuff though, right? This is just strictly multiplayer focused.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Does that appeal to anybody?
That's a multiplayer mode I want to get back into. Now that I'm starting to free up some more time, I wouldn't mind revisiting that because I really do like the multiplayer in Doom. It is no health regen. You got to pick up all your armor, you got to pick up all your ammo, all your health, and I like how it's just your auto sprinting. Basically, it's just a fast paced, completely just ultra violent game, and it's super fun. And I every time I play it, I swear I'm sweating. And my heart's
that's nothing new, right?
I know, right? I walk out to the mailbox in February, and I'm just like, oh god, fat guy problems. But no, it's the multiplayer is extremely fun. Like I've really enjoyed the multiplayer. And if they're adding more maps and all this stuff is for free, and you're adding more modes, I know that one of the modes is like a capture the flag type of mode. That sounds cool. So I'm glad they're adding more of these modes in there to keep this game more, keeping it fresh and adding new maps. I think over time you'll just see this game sort of expand more, and it'll probably be a better multiplayer experience probably like 3 more months down the line.
Mm-hmm. Frankie, you care about the multiplayer in this game at all?
I don't want to say no because the beta was a lot of fun, but just in terms of when I'm actually going to play it, I want to finish the campaign first.
Right.
So I'm really bummed that the season pass, for as expensive as it is, doesn't seem to have any single player stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. One of these days I'll hop in the multiplayer.
But I really thought they might come out and announce something single player for this game, because people have been ranting and raving about the single player experience for a while now, and everybody's really into it as a single player experience. I mean, I know they're going all in on the multiplayer now, but I was shocked they didn't throw something out there for the single player, because that's the aspect of the game that people are latching onto the most.
And you see what I think they're doing, Ben, is, and they mentioned this during the press conference, they're like, during the Snap Map, they're adding more stuff to the Snap Map to allow people to create single player experiences. Now, if I remember correctly, when they first announced Doom, they said they were going to rely on the community quite a bit to create more content for this game. Obviously, they'll have the stuff that they make, but I think they're really relying on the community, and that's why they're trying to release more tools, more assets for the community to create these like first player or these single player type of experiences that you can play through. So, I mean, it's not really a surprise that we're not getting a lot, because if I remember correctly, when at least from what I remember, is when they talked about when this game was first announced, is the Snap Map is going to be a major part of this game in terms of content. And it's, by them releasing all this extra stuff for people to create, single player type of experiences, I think they're relying on us, the community, to kind of keep this game relevant on the single player side.
I mean, what do you think about that strategy? Is that a sound strategy? I mean,
Well, for somebody lazy like myself, that sucks because I don't want to make anything. But so I'm
but you can
hoping.
play this stuff everybody else makes.
Yeah, so I mean, there's the plus side and negative. It's all going to depend on the community, how invested they are, how talented they are with creating stuff, and the multiplayer. I think is still the main focus of Doom, even though the single player is actually really really fun. I think their focus on the multiplayer tells me that hey, this is still a primarily multiplayer focused game. So if that's the way they're going forward with it, then that's the way they're going forward with it. But I'm gonna hope the community can come up with some single player type of experiences.
You know, man, I haven't had a chance to sit down and play Doom, but from everything I've heard, like this game is being praised for its single player.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they need to gravitate towards that aspect of the game because that's the part of the game that everybody's really getting into.
And I know they're going to support this game for a while. So I mean, that's not to say they're never going to add something. They might add single player stuff down the line. They might be working on it. Maybe they don't want to just rush through it. I mean, maybe it's easier to make a map for multiplayer than it is come up with a new campaign edition. So I mean, remember the game just came out recently. I mean, we still have a ways to go. I'm sure they have a roadmap, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some single player stuff down the line. Because at the same time, with all this praise on the single player stuff, I don't think they want to just shove out some crap. They're probably trying to come up with something very unique and something that's worth the praise, just like the rest of the single player portion that shipped with the game.
Yeah, definitely. We shall see what the future of Doom holds. A free demo available now
Yes.
on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, by the way, as well. So,
Yep.
if you haven't played Doom yet, you can hop on there, play the first level, see if it's something you might get into, and give it a whirl.
It's only this week though.
Yes.
Only this week, though, yeah.
What is
Just
it, the
this-
first chapter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
first chapter for E3 week. So get on there and see if that's something you might get into.
If you do like it, it is on sale at Best Buy this week for $39.99.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Coincidence?
It's it's something we'll address on the podcast too. I got some questions about that. It's a
Ooh.
little tease.
I like that. Ooh.
Tease.
I like you. You tease you.
Like how I did that there.
No.
What,
You like that tease, Frank?
which podcast is that? Which podcast are you talking about?
That's the Short Pause Gaming podcast on
Where can
iTunes,
Oh, okay.
SoundCloud, and TuneIn Radio.
Tune in radio.
If you're not listening to it, what in the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. Seriously. Why aren't
It's
you
a,
listening?
It's a fantastic show.
Oh.
This is coming from a totally unbiased place. so get on there, subscribe to it, enjoy the three of us and Bender. So we yuck it up on there on a weekly basis. But from Doom, we moved into ESO, as we in the biz call it, right?
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls Online for everybody else. So they kind of went through the history of the game over the last year to hit its 1 year anniversary. 7 million players in ESO
Wow.
now, which is a nice little number. And I mentioned when we were doing the live blog, it's nice to see how they've been able to turn this game around.
Yeah.
Kind of got in there, tinkered with it, dealt with the criticism that was initially a part of the game, turned it into Elder Scrolls Online, brought it over to consoles, and it's kind of turned over a whole new leaf. Very similar to the way Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn did things previously. So, Elder Scrolls Online seems to be healthy at this point. We also learned that 578 million mud crabs have been killed. So that was
That was
a nice little stat.
hilarious. I thought that
Yeah.
section was funny.
Yeah, that little montage of everybody taking out the mud crabs was pretty funny. But the main thing we learned was that we saw a trailer for the Dark Brotherhood DLC. This is going to be released on Tuesday. Brent, what'd you think of this, man? I mean, do you remember the Dark Brotherhood from were they from Oblivion? I'm not sure if you remember coming across them, but it appears to be very stealth focused, very thievery with the Dark Brotherhood. Very violent group, this Dark Brotherhood here.
Oh, yeah.
But the DLC, I thought looks really cool, man. What'd you think of it?
I thought it looked great. I mean, this is a game we've talked about numerous times about jumping back into.
Dude, I have it all installed on my PS4 because we talked about sitting down and playing it on a weekly basis. And
Yeah, it's a game I would love to get back into, and this Dark Brotherhood DLC looks awesome. I mean, it looks really, really good. A lot of I like how you can just sneak up on people, take them down quickly, violently, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
But the narration of the trailer, the guy talking to you, it just sounds really, really interesting. I would love to get back into this game at some point with you guys. I know we talk about it all the time, but it is what it is.
maybe one day we can make this happen. Like I said, it's sitting there. I installed this gigantic game, this gargantuan game, just eating up space on my hard drive. So we should probably put it to use at some point.
You would think.
Franklin, any interest in ESO?
It's
No.
another time vampire. I just don't have time for it.
What game isn't a time vampire? Like, are there any nowadays?
Uh,
Seemingly
Ratchet,
every game that comes out.
Ratchet and Clank.
That's a good one. Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah. Based on a game from what, 2002? So if we dig back into the past, we can find these games that don't sap every ounce of our time away from us. Um, so yeah, the Dark Brotherhood DLC looking cool. We also saw this one Tamriel thing, Brent. I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting. So basically, coming this fall, you'll be able to explore Tamriel, the world of ESO, with no restrictions. So you'll be able to play with whoever you want, explore wherever you want, quest whatever you want. Like everything's going to be unlocked to you, regardless of whatever decisions you make in the game in terms of who you ally with and
Uh-huh.
your level and all that kind of stuff. So you're gonna be able to explore the entirety of the world from the get go, which is an interesting concept. I'm not sure how that works with that. I'm sure there's going to be some stronger enemies in some of these areas that
Hmm.
you're probably gonna want to stick out of until you're ready to go in there. But an interesting concept nonetheless. What do you think about one Tamriel?
Yeah, when they talked about something about you'll level up
Hmm.
to meet like certain enemies in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
So I mean, like, I guess my question is, if I'm leveling up right away and I'm going to all this stuff, I mean, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of grinding?
I don't know. I don't know how this works exactly.
Yeah. I
It
mean, I know in
was
MMO, it's built around grinding. Like
yeah,
you're trying to
yeah.
grind up so you can reach a certain level, so you can go into a certain area or go into a certain
Hmm.
raid and be able to play it. Now, this says you join up with friends, you'll automatically scale to this level. I mean, that seems like that removes the
Yeah.
grind. And I mean, maybe it isn't. Maybe I'll go back and read about it, and we'll talk about it on the
Hmm.
podcast. But that's what I heard from. That's what I took from. I was like, why would you want to remove the grind? I mean, isn't that the point?
Maybe it just scales for that dungeon or that mission or whatever, and then
Yeah.
you're back to you just keep the experience that you earned, but you go back to the level that you're at. I don't know.
Hmm.
Doesn't A Realm Reborn do something like that for players? Don't they let you scale for a dungeon or with the party that you're playing with? Then you get to keep the experience. There's some type of a scaling mechanism they put in that game as well.
I think there was. Yeah.
Yeah. So regardless, so some cool stuff from ESO. Like I said, seems like it's a healthy game right now, which is always good. Moving on from there, we got a small little tease here of Bethesda VR.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure we saw this coming exactly, but there, Pete Hines was delivering this message of AAA games in the VR space,
Yeah.
and they mentioned two of their big dogs right now in Doom and Fallout 4 coming to VR. I mean, Doom and VR seems just like sensory overload.
Oh
you're
man.
just you're just in there getting nuked by the hordes of hell in this just ultra fast paced. I mean, in VR, that thing's gonna be running at 120 frames a second. You're just gonna be in there just running and gunning against the hordes of hell. That seems like quite the experience to have in virtual reality.
Right.
The other one was Fallout 4. Is VR is a 2017 title coming from, for all intents and purposes, as far as we know right now, exclusively to the HTC Vive.
Hmm.
Um, Frankie, seeing two AAA games in VR, does it get you more excited about the prospects of what some of these developers might be doing with VR? I mean, a company like Bethesda, if they go all in on VR with some of their big dog titles, some of these other companies have to be thinking the same thing.
Um, I don't know because if you're talking just essentially making Fallout 4 and Doom just playable on a headset, I don't know, man. That could be cool, but at the same time, do I really want to play through these games in VR? I don't know. I think exploring the world of Fallout in VR would be pretty neat, but I don't know that actually playing the game would be all that fun. I don't know.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It's just interesting to me that it seems like now they're getting into VR when John Carmack was with them for how long before leaving for Oculus. I also think it's funny that this is coming to the Vive and not the Rift.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just, Brent, this. Now, I mused to Frankie during the live blog that it's one thing to own multiple consoles, but it's another thing entirely to own multiple virtual reality headsets
Right.
to try to play some of these games that are coming out. So there's no way in hell I'm gonna buy an $800 HTC Vive and then have a $600 Oculus Rift sitting here in case can't play the games that I want to on this headset, and then I'm gonna have a $500 PlayStation VR over there so I can play those games that are. That's just ridiculous. So
Hmm.
this can't possibly be on the Vive exclusively forever, right? I mean, this has to be like some type of a window.
I believe this is a test run. I think that's what this is. If it's good, they'll expand. If it's not good, they'll be like, well, it was just a demo. It was just to try it out. It wasn't the best experience, and maybe that's what they're doing. They're trying to find out right now, how is this going to work in VR? And instead of trying to develop for multiple VR headsets, we're going to develop for one, keep the cost low, work on this one, see how it pans out. If it's received well and people really do enjoy it, then yeah, let's expand it. But the thought of playing Doom with a VR headset, like I'd
Like,
puke
just
all over
waking
myself.
up off that table
Yeah.
like at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I
In
just feel like,
VR?
oh, and then I think about playing Fallout 4 with a VR headset. 7 hours later, my neck is just like, oh, I'm wearing this headset the whole time. I mean, I could lose a lot of time wandering the wasteland with a VR headset on, man.
And part of me wonders if maybe they're just trying to take advantage of the spatial recognition technology in the Vive. Like they want you up walking around,
That's
like
true.
as you're walking around in Fallout 4, and maybe the Vive is the only one that gives them that experience right now.
Because the Vive is
But-
one with the cameras all over them.
Yeah,
The sensors,
yeah,
yeah.
it's the one that lets you walk around in a certain spot. But the Vive, it's so hard to set up. I mean, you have to have a room, basically a dedicated VR room
Mm-hmm.
that you can set up, that you can walk around in, and a game of that scale in VR. But can you imagine though, like walking around the wasteland, like looking down at your Pit Boy, like on your arm there, like
yeah.
in virtual reality? That sounds pretty cool.
Oh, it sounds fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to try this out and test it out. And if it is good, I would love to see them bring it to other VR headsets. Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, so we'll see what becomes of this. But this is a 2017 experiment. Really interested to see how these AAA experiences, transfer over to VR.
Mhm.
And Bethesda said, their goal with VR is to take these like shooter, like first person experiences, because that's what they feel works best in VR. And I have to assume that's what works best in VR. I mean, as you're in that world and you're in these characters' bodies, that seems like the most immersive experience to have. So, moving forward, that's going to be their focus with VR. I'll be really interested to see that. Now, the show ended with Dishonored 2.
Oh,
And something else I mentioned to you, Frankie, was that they must be very confident in this game to have Dishonored 2 be like their showpiece, show-ending game for Bethesda. So they obviously have a lot riding on Dishonored 2. This is a November release, a November 11th release, another game coming out in the heart of the gaming season, looking to win over gamer dollars. We saw the new setting in Karnaka, the new location you're going to be traveling to. They also mentioned that this game does take place in Dunwall in the beginning and the end of the game.
Yep.
So there will be some of the original setting in Dishonored 2 as well. Obviously, you'll be able to play as Emily or Corvo. She's one of the driving pieces behind the narrative. We saw this game's going to be 15 years after the first game. We saw some of the like verticality in the level design. So you'd be able to take advantage of scaling buildings and kind of using space to your advantage. We saw some really cool abilities, like the domino one. I thought was really cool.
that was
where
sweet.
you can set up a group of people to accept whatever fate befalls like the main person.
Yeah.
So if I go up and I slit this guy's throat, the other 4 guys that are attached to this are gonna all have their throats slit as well. So that's pretty wild. You saw like the Shadow Walk, it looked cool. The Spider-Man whip arm thing looks awesome.
I like the one where, what was it called, where they put down this thing and it distracts them. And then one guy's standing, he's like, I feel so empty inside.
Like the mimic or something.
Yeah, something like that. I just thought it was funny how the guy's like, I feel so empty inside.
I think my favorite thing though was the time travel ability, where
Yes.
we saw, I think it was Emily exploring one of these areas, and she had this device on her arm that showed this same setting that she was in is it in the past or the present, one of the two. Whatever setting she was in, it showed like the past on her armband, and she could actually solve puzzles and eliminate enemies by transporting to and back and forward through time. And I thought that was awesome. Like that was really cool looking, very cool looking ability. Frankie, what Dishonored 2, man? I know you like the first game. What'd you think of what you saw from the second one here?
Looks like more Dishonored, which is exactly what I would want. The world that they're building it looks great. I think they mentioned this is running on a new engine, the Void engine, which is a
the
great
Void
name
engine.
for an engine.
Mm-hmm.
So the environments look great. The lighting looks really cool. And I don't know, like if it's just the game's not at the optimization stage, but some parts of it do look a little bit rough right now. But even in the grand scheme of things, the first Dishonored game, it is what it is, and it was a fun time. So I'm not expecting, any kind of weird jankiness to ruin my enjoyment of the game. So looking forward to it. Definitely the new powers that Emily has, like you mentioned, that domino effect thing,
Hmm.
all that stuff looks awesome. And then I think one of her upgrades that they mentioned too was she can like shadow pull people towards her and
Yes.
just impale them. Like,
Yeah,
man,
like that
that,
was
that
the
game,
scorpion. Get over here.
Yeah.
yeah.
Get over here. That'd be awesome if she said it like that. Get over here.
Yeah, like the dude in Battleborn, that'd be great. But yeah, man, that was everything I was hoping it would be. So that the time travel thing too, like you mentioned, that just wow. Like they're doing some really cool things with this game, and I'm really excited now.
Yeah,
Bender's in the chat. Mesmerize was the ability to lay down that thing that would trick your mind.
mesmerized.
Thanks,
Ah,
Bender.
it's all coming into fruition now. Brian, what do you think of Dishonored 2, dude?
Oh, dude, I'm stoked. I mean, I really like Dishonored 1. I like the skill set that Emily has. A lot of those things were pretty interesting. I like that you can play as Corvo if you want to as well. But for me, I thought this game looked beautiful. I love the city that they're in. Arcane just has a way to make a beautiful city with a lot of personality. Even just the buildings and the settings, everything has personality. It's just a beautifully drawn game. It looks fantastic. Looks great on this new engine. I wonder if it's the same engine they're using for Prey, because Prey looked really, really good. So I'm wondering if they're using the same engine on Prey. But this looks really good. The combat looks good. I love the stealth approach. I love having all these different ways to tackle a mission. I hope there is another clean hands trophy, because I will get that damn thing. But this just looked great. I mean, yeah, there were some issues with the frame rate, and I noticed in a couple scenes there was some stuttering. But for the most part, though, visually speaking, I think this game looks really impressive. The story sounds awesome. I like the relationship between Corvo and Emily. It's just this is a very highly anticipated game on my list.
I know one of the other things that they mentioned was both Corvo and Emily are fully voiced.
Yes.
I know that was another thing a lot of people complained about from the last game was I think Corvo was another silent protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
So now both him and Emily have their own dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And I might be wrong, but it sounded like maybe the story kind of goes a different way depending which one of them you play as.
Mm-hmm. They mentioned multiple end games,
Yeah,
multiple
so
endings. So
yeah, so that's cool. I would love to have a reason to go back through that game.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so some very cool looking stuff from Dishonored, and like I said, the powers look really cool. Um, I was taken aback a little bit by some of the technical issues in the demo. So, like I said, we don't know if this was the PC version, if this was the console version. Obviously, they still have some optimization to do. The game's still months away from release, but yeah, it was a little stuttery. I would have liked to seen that a little bit more cleaned up before the demo, but it is what it is. Hopefully, this isn't an issue when the game comes out. We'll have to wait and see. But all things told, looks very like a very cool experience.
Mm-hmm.
We also saw the collector's edition
Oh.
officially unveiled. Got a Corvo mask in there, steelbook, some other stuff in there as well.
And correct me if I'm wrong. It's available right now, and all three of us got one.
Yep.
That's true. Yep.
99.99.
Yeah, buddy. It's available on Amazon now, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Go get it quick, because it's gonna go fast.
Yep. We'll sell that quickly, probably, if we're any indication of the fan base. We just went on there and pre-ordered it immediately. So, collector's edition, once again, November 11th on this release date. And that was it for the show. That wrapped it up. Dishonored 2 is the big finale. Overall thoughts, gentlemen. Frankie, what'd you think of Bethesda's show as a whole? Obviously, this was an improvement from EA's showcase earlier, but what are your thoughts on everything they had to show us?
Well, I definitely a big improvement over EA's show. Going back and looking at what they did last year, I think last year when they came to the show, like they just had, like they came in feeling like they had something to prove.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I think they played a little. I don't want to say safer, but they definitely seemed like they had it on cruise control, which is fine because everything they showed, most of the things they showed were things that I wanted to see and I have an interest in. I was really happy to see Prey revealed. I'm still sad that that human head game is probably never going to see the light of day anywhere in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
But Dishonored 2 did not disappoint me, so I am extremely, extremely hyped to play Dishonored 2 when it comes out in November.
Yeah, and Frankie, the reality is they just last year they revealed Dishonored 2, they revealed Doom, they revealed Fallout 4. I mean, there's just nothing in their stable that's as big as those games for them to reveal at this point. So it's just natural that this show, in terms of its epic scale and its ability to surprise, is just not on the same level as last year's show.
Mm-hmm.
And
Speaking
then
of surprise, did you guys catch that Wolfenstein nod?
Oh yeah.
That boot up screen at the very beginning of the conference listed like all the Wolfenstein games. There
Mhm.
was New Colossus, and it has all the dates, and then there's nothing there.
Mhm.
So I think we got a sneaky Wolfenstein
Yeah.
tease.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we saw you send us the picture of that right before we started this here, and yeah, it's a nice little Easter egg that Bethesda threw in there, and I thought that too when that little load up DOS screen came up before the conference. I was like, I wanted to capture that as it was scrolling up because I felt like there was something in there, but somebody did, and they unveiled seemingly Machine Games' next game, which is the new Colossus Wolfenstein. Um, we'll have to see what that is at a later date. Brent, we didn't see the new Colossus. We just saw the Easter egg for it. We didn't see the Evil Within 2, like we heard about. Pretty much, due to leaks or whatnot, we pretty much knew what we were getting from this conference, and there wasn't anything particularly, shocking from it. What'd you think though of Bethesda's conference overall?
I actually liked it. I mean, with the obviously Fallout Shelter is something I can't get into, but everything else they showed piqued my interest to some degree. From that looks cool to I'm excited. I think Quake looks really really cool. I'm interested in trying that out. Fallout 4 DLC that looks cool. The Nuka World one is obviously the standout there, and I'm actually kind of interested in building my own vault and testing stuff out on my dwellers. So I think that's interesting.
You savage, you.
I know I'm gonna do some sick stuff. So. But no, Dishonored 2, obviously the steal for me. That was like the showstopper. It looked awesome. It looked fantastic. You got the Dark Brotherhood DLC. I want to get back into Elder Scrolls Online. I have no idea when I'd be able to, but that looked interesting. I mean, just everything they showed, with the exception of Fallout Shelter. But I know there's people that love that, so I'm not going to discredit it. But everything else looked really, really good. Either from cool to oh my god, that looks amazing. So I thought it was a strong show. Not obviously it's not going to match last year's show. Last year's show was a once in a lifetime thing. It's like what Frankie said. It's their first time they ever had their own press conference. Of course they're going to try to blow the roof off the place. This one, it was a nice press conference. It was strong, and I think what it'll do is it'll set them up next year. I mean, you've got Skyrim Remastered coming out this year. Maybe a little hint for Oblivion or for Elder Scrolls 6 next year E3. Kind of build up the excitement, build up that interest with the remaster of Skyrim, get people back into it. That would blow the roof off next year's show.
Even
Yeah.
that card game looked pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I thought, that might be something I'll jump into. I'll download it on my iPhone, give it a try.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And we saw like Quake Champions, Skyrim Remastered to an extent, Prey and Dishonored 2. These were like the new games that were at the show. Everything else, Doom, Fallout, ESO, it's all stuff adding on to games that are already out there. It's DLC stuff. So, in the end, it was a solid show. It was a good show. There was lots of fun stuff in there. But like I said, no major surprises. Pretty much stuff based, it's not their fault. Stuff leaks. Maybe it is their fault. But things leak and things get out there. So we knew what was going on with it. And I think Frankie used the right word there. This was like a safe show. It was like just a safe, solid show.
Mm-hmm.
Had some good stuff to show. Dishonored 2 looks like it's going to be a lot of fun as long as they can clean up some of the technical issues. And I think if that demo would have ran a little bit smoother for me, I think it would have been a little bit more exciting. But there's some issues there that I once again I hope gets cleaned up. But good show overall. There's lots of fun games here we'll be playing in the years to come. So thanks for checking out the latest reaction video here. Once again, follow us all throughout E3 at the Short Pause on Twitter. Visit the website www.shortpause.com. Find all of our live blogs, all of our all the press conferences, all of our E3 coverage. at E3 Central on the Short Pause main page there. Just click on the sidebar and go to E3 Central and follow us along this week as we track all the fun stuff that's going to happen over the next few days. See our Twitter handles above our pictures on the stream here, up there somewhere.
There you go.
So so follow us there as well. Brent, anything else we need to mention to these fine people?
No, just tune into the website. We'll have we have an actual page on the website. If you go to www.shortpause.com, go up in the right corner, you'll see E3 Central. We'll have on that page all the press conferences, all the live reaction videos. We've got our podcast from last week with our predictions. We'll have next week's podcast on there as well. And then on Tuesday night, we're doing a joint show with the Next Level Gaming podcast with Mike Mullis. We'll do a wrap-up of all of E3. Looking forward to that. So, yeah, www.shortpause.com, E3 Central. We'll have all of that there. I'm also going to add a section with all the trailers that we've seen prior to today's shows and going forward. But we'll get like the Injustice trailer up there. We'll get everything up there on one page for E3 stuff.
I think we need a reaction video for the Injustice trailer. Maybe we should work on that.
If it's you and Frankie in the trailer, we'll have to block it for 18 years old or older. So we'll age restrict that one. That's going to be disgusting.
Well, on that note, that's going to do it for us this evening. We'll see you guys at 12:30 tomorrow for the Microsoft presser.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, our reaction video will go live. So watch us live on YouTube or catch the archive stream on the website there. So until next time, we bid you good evening. And thanks for watching.
Good night.
Bye-bye.